example says we wish to estimate what percent of adult residents in a certain county are parents. Out of 500 adult residents sampled, 95 had kids. Based on this, form a 95% confidence interval for the true proportion P of adult residents who are parents in this county. Trying to do the whole county. So, okay. So basically, how are we going to do it? So, step one, we're going to go to the online calculator. And specifically, we're going to choose confidence interval for a proportion. How do we know that? Because they say right here, confidence interval for a proportion. And then step two, they're gonna ask us for n x. Let me space this out a little bit more. X in confidence interval. What is n? Total number. What is x? The number we want. Confidence level, make sure you put it as a decimal. So, okay, so what is n? How many people? Well, 500 adults were surveyed. So 500 total adults surveyed. 95 are the ones that had kids. That's the number we want. And we want to do a 95% confidence, so we'll do 0.95. So if you do that, you put that in, you'll get these two numbers from the online calculator. Let me show it real quick. And then we'll come back for the part two. So here on part one, we go back. Here's the online calculator. And we're going to go down to number 12, which is the confidence interval for proportion. Click on that. It opens up. And there's the n. We said that's 500 people total surveyed. 95 of them said they had kids. Those adults said they had kids. And we want a 0.95, make that decimal. Whoops, don't mess that up like I just did. 95% confidence level. Calculate. So there's the two numbers that we knew were coming, the 0.156 and the 0.224. There they are. Right there. So that's the lower bound, the upper bound. So now we need to do part two. Now, part two, I'll flash back to it in a minute, but I'll just tell you right now, it says change to plus or minus. So how do we do that? Well, if you come in here like this to the notes, I'm going to come back to the notes, right? So you look at your notes. These are the chapter, and the notes are on the home page, by the way. Right? Click on notes, right? If you don't have the notes, you don't have a printed copy, click on the notes on the home page there of our Canvas course. There it is, Unit 3 notes. There's Unit 1, 2, 3. It's right there. So again, that's on the home page of our Canvas course. Click on notes. There they are. So here's the notes. Now, it says right here, changing left, right to middle, plus there's a plus or minus. So you can't hardly see the minus. Plus or minus jump. How do you do it? The middle number is the left plus the right, enter, divided by 2, enter. And then the jump number is the middle number, answer just found, minus the left number. So let's go back and I will do exactly that with you. So I'm going to go back to the original problem now. So let's take a look at it. And so we're coming in here to it. It's about to pop up for us. And there we go. Okay, so it pops up. And so now, again, what those instructions were, so changing left, comma, right to middle plus or minus jump. That's what we're doing. Why so? Well, because this is the left, the 0.156. That's the number on the left. And the 0.224, that's the number on the right. So I'm going to take that left number. So I'm going to do what they said. So what did they say to do? They said step number 1, take the left plus the right and hit enter on your calculator and divide by 2 and hit enter again. So I'm going to go 0.156 plus 0.224. Then I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to go divide by 2. Whoops, not 2. And hit enter again. And when you do, you will get the answer 0.19. That's this number right here, 0.19. And what that is, that's the middle, that's the average. You know how to average numbers, right? Like if you got a 70% on an exam and a 90, how would you find your average? You would add them and divide by 2, right? That would give you the middle. Middle of 70 and 90 is 80. That's what we just did. We found the middle of the left and the right by adding them and then dividing by 2, 0.19. So that's the middle number. That's the middle of those two numbers. And then the other number is called the jump number. So how do we find the jump number? Well, it says in the instructions, the jump number will be the middle number you just found, minus the number from the left. So I'll take the middle number we just found, which is the 0.19, and subtract the number from the left. Here's the number from the left, the number that is 0.156. So if you subtract them, you get a 0.034, and that's this number right here, 0.034. And that's our answer. I want you to see, though, what that is in the real world, not just be some formula thing you just kind of blindly go through the steps like a robot or something, you know? Because real life, you know, as soon as this class is over, you're not going to calculate anything again, but you will read studies. Definitely, and I don't mean I shouldn't say read studies. You're going to hear data. You're going to hear people talk about things like this, especially in the professional world, and you want to be able to understand what in the world they're talking about. So it'd be like this. What if I said, hey, what percentage do I think are going to get an A on the next exam? Well, I think it'll be 80% will get an A. Well, that's a little high, maybe. I think what percent will pass? And I say pass, and I say 80%, but give or take 10. Like I don't know it's exactly 80. It might be 10 higher, it might be 10 lower, right? So that's the number I think is in the middle, and this is the jump. Like if you're to do it on a number line, how would it look? You would say, well, you know, here's 80. That's what I think. Mr. Heron thinks 80% of the class is going to pass the next exam, but it could be higher than that by 10%. Add 10%. So it could be all the way up to 90, or it could be lower than that by 10%, down all the way down to 70. You see what I'm saying? Notice I'm saying it could be from 70%, comma, all the way to 90%. That's the left, right. So do you see what we're talking about when we talk about those two different forms? That's the same thing. If I say I think 80% of the classes are going to pass the next exam, give or take 10. It could be 10 higher up at 90 or 10 lower down 70. Somebody said, oh, you mean you think somewhere between 70 and 90 are going to pass the next exam? Yeah. Those are two ways the same thing. This is like saying one, and this is saying uno. You're saying the same thing, two different languages, right? 80, give or take 10, jump up 10 or down 10, is the same as somewhere between 70 and 90. Well, that's all we're doing. We just went from this one, 70, 90, because that's what the calculator gives us this one first. It gives us, this is what comes out of the calculator, the online calculator. So we get the left-right thing. So then how do we go back to this thing, to the number in the middle, right in the middle, and then the jump, the 10% up or 10% down? How do we do that? Well, we got to find the middle of these two. What's the middle of 70 and 90? Well, you would have to add them and divide by 2. That's how you find the middle of two numbers, which would be 160 over 2, which would be 80. 80 is the middle of 70 and 90. Of course it is. And that gives you the middle number. That's what the formula said, right? Add the left and the right and then divide by 2. And then how do you find the jump? Well, the jump is just how far from the middle back to the low number, right? Or you could go from the high to the middle. It doesn't matter. So I said, just take the middle and take away the low. 80 minus 70, that's 10. That tells you how far apart they are. That tells you the jump. Take the middle minus the low. 10, that gives you the jump. That's all we just did. We just said, look, they're giving us the left and the right. So just add them and divide by 2, and you get the middle. There's the middle. And then to find the jump, just take that middle number minus the left, and you get the jump. So there's the middle, give or take the jump. These are two ways of saying the same thing. So in real world, professional world especially, with data, people will communicate and say, yeah, we are 95% confident that the whatever is between 15 and 22, that the percentage of adults that have kiddos in this county is somewhere between 15 and 22. And somebody says, oh, you think it's 19, give or take 3? Could be 3 higher, 3 lower. Yeah, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. 19 add 3, 19 subtract 3. There we go.